privacy in their life. Personally, my parents never monitored my cell phone activity because I didn't have internet or texting on my phone until high school, so I could only do phone calls. But if I did have texting and internet, my parents definitely would have monitored me. Families shouldn't cut cell phones out completely because they do have advantages, especially for an easy and fast way to communicate, but there should definitely be more limitations. Consider limiting your cell phone use when you're with your family, even if it's just during dinner time. Also, consider monitoring your children's cell phones in the future to protect them from online dangers. A family doesn't need a cell phone to spend quality time with each other, and the best memories usually occur when a cell phone isn't present. Now Nicole is going to be talking about cell phones in school.
The use of cell phones escalated in academic settings in recent years. For more than a decade, we opposed policies allowing cell phone use in school. They are disruptive to the education environments. Changing policies under the aspect of cell phones being a crisis tool for student safety was driven more by parental and student convenience issues and safety. Parents have pushed boards to change policies in argument that phones will make students and schools safer in times of national tragedies. In the 2012 article, The Use and Abuse of Cell Phones and Text Messaging in the Classroom, a survey of college students, written by Deborah Tyndall and Robert Bolander, found that 68% of school-based officers indicated that the use of cell phones by students decreases safety during a crisis. There needs to be a clear understanding of how cell phone use during a tragedy can detract school safety and create a less safe environment. National School Safety and Security Services.org states that cell phones can detract school safety and crisis preparedness in many ways. Cell phones have been used for calling in bomb threats to schools, which cell phones cannot be traced by public safety officials. The use of student cell phones could potentially detonate a real bomb if one is actually on campus. Cell phone use can also hamper rumor control, and doing so can disrupt and delay effective public safety personnel and response. It can impede public safety response by accelerating parental response to the scene of an emergency when officials may be attempting to evacuate students to another site. Lastly, cell phone systems typically overload during a real major crisis, and the usage by a large number of students at once could add to the overload and knock out cell phone systems quicker. This could eliminate crisis team emergency communication tools in a very short period of critical time. Many cell phone proponents claim that these mobile devices can be used to enhance classroom learning. Some useful features include the ability to access information and record data. They can also be used to collect data for classroom experiments and demonstrations and enhance interactivity in large classroom settings. Cell phones can also replace materials that are short in supply, such as dictionaries and timers. From an education perspective, cell phone use during class and in other areas of the school can easily present a disruption. From ringing cell phones distracting class time to using texting for cheating or using cameras to take photos of exams or students changing clothes in the locker room, there are many ways in which cell phones bring disruption to the educational environment. There have been many cases or incidents across the nation where rumors have disrupted schools and resulted in decreased attendance due to fears of rumors. The ringing of cell phones in class is a serious problem. Research done found that ringing during a presentation impairs learning of the interrupted information. It is clear that if students are texting, they are not paying attention to the class lecture. An experiment showed that if students received 2 or more texts, they scored significantly lower on tests, indicating that the ability to focus and learn was negatively impacted by texting. In addition to the student doing the texting, it is also likely that other students and even the instructor is distracted by the student's texting. Another concern relates to academic dishonesty. The technology available through cell phones allows an individual to text other classmates in the same class or outside class for answers, or even send pictures to outside sources who send back responses. And with web browsing phones, it is possible to look up answers on the spot. In the 2013 article, College Students' Cell Phone Use, Beliefs, and Effects on Their Learning by Anastasia Elder states that using the internet or texting while studying divides working memory resources. A study found that students texting while studying were much less efficient and took longer to complete the task. Students also reported that texting was negatively correlated with GPA. In the 2011 article, Cell Phones, Texting, and Facebook, Competing Time Demands of Today's College Students by Trudy Hansen showed that students are spending a significant amount of time with cell phones and less time with academic-related sources. Students spend about the same amount of time studying for courses as they do actually attending courses each week. So in conclusion, cell phones in schools have a negative impact where parents think that they can be used for safety when it actually causes more of a problem. But cell phones can also come in handy when there are short of dictionaries or timers. And our next speaker is Katie with Texting and Driving.
You're sitting in your car at a red light and you feel your cell phone buzz in your pocket. It buzzes again. Wow, this person really wants to get a hold of me. What if it's an emergency? Do I look? Do I text back? This is an issue almost every American struggles with. In the summer of 2014, in the article addressing texting and driving epidemic, morality salience, priming events, effects on attitude and behavioral intention, Tianis Kiriklas explains that texting and driving is the most dangerous form of distracted driving. There are thousands of deaths every year, and he refers to it as an epidemic, and that texting while driving delays the driver's reaction as much as having over a 0.08 blood alcohol level. Studies are showing that more and more college students agree that texting and driving is bad, but most admit they do it, and it's beginning to be linked to addiction. Can you go an entire day without your phone? Can you go on a trip for more than 2 hours, a road trip, without checking your phone? In October of 2004, in the article Accident Analysis and Prevention, a meta-analysis of the effects of texting and driving, Jeff Caird and Kate Johnson explain that typing and reading text messages affects your eye movement, and it uses the needed driving senses of physical, mental, and visual. In October of 2012, Shelby Capricott and Leah Binot on the Fox 9 News report Brian teen killed in crash on first day of school was texting, described 17-year-old Denaria's deadly crash into the back of a school bus while she was texting and driving, where she injured 2 school kids, both 7 and 11 years old. Her devastated parents came out with this statement. 7 weeks ago, our daughter died in a tragic car accident. With the investigation of the accident now complete, you can imagine the details about our daughter's untimely death is devastating to our family, her friends, and those who knew DJ. Her error in judgment as a teenager in this brief moment in time was paid with the highest price ever, her life. We would much rather be grounding her for this mistake than never hearing her laughter fill the house again. Cell phones are just a distraction for many while driving. As parents, we need to educate and live by example by limiting our own phone use while in the car. Our beautiful DJ was a good kid with good grades, great friends, a perfect driving record, and loved life. She made a mistake, like all teenagers do, in the process of growing up. except this time there is no growing up. We can only pray that others can learn from her. We do need to learn from her. This is a common story that is too often a statement by grieving parents who lost a child who was texting and driving. As Denaria's parents said, and earlier mentioned by Jeff Cade and Kate Johnson, we need to get rid of making using a cell phone while texting normal. We got rid of smoking generally. Most college students don't smoke anymore. And also we made it typical to wear a seatbelt when driving. Parents also need to be a positive example. I know I see my own mom sometimes texting and driving, so it makes it seem like it's not a very big deal. There needs to be more education out there, and facts and statistics about how dangerous it really is. Teens are the most guilty of texting and driving, and yet are often the most inexperienced drivers. Young drivers are more likely to continue texting even in difficult driving situations, such as stop-and-go traffic or icy roads. But by picking up your phone, you are 4 times more likely to get in an accident that will cause injuries. We need to change the way we look at texting and driving. Like we hear during the National Distracted Driving Month, one call may wreck it all. And this is all too true.